Hey guys, Scarlett speaking. I'm really sick right now, so preface, I'm really sick. We have another bad finale bingo. But I just want to say before I get into it that this is the most difficult bingo card that I have had to make. I've made a bingo card for the season 5 of Stranger Things finale and the season 5 of The Boys finale. That was miles easier than making the Euphoria one because those two, it was really bad. It was bad finale in like a predictable way. This Euphoria season 3, I have no clue. I have no clue what they're going to do. So a lot of these bingo squares are like little things that I think are gonna happen. I have no idea. It's so unpredictable. Like them killing off Nate Jacobs, I would have never imagined. So if they were looking for shock value, it worked. All right, let's go through it. Square number 1, we're going to get a redundant side character intro. So every episode of Euphoria, they do the stupid thing in the beginning where they introduce some side character. Like last episode, it was Ollie. And it's just like, I just like don't care. Like, I don't know why they think that the audience cares. I actually kind of enjoyed Alamo's backstory, like intro, but it doesn't mean anything. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So I don't know if we're going to get that because it's the final episode, but I put it on the bingo card anyways because genuinely, I did not know what to write on this bingo card. Number 2, we're gonna go with greater than or equal to 3 shock value gore clips because they're doing that a lot this season. And I don't know how much they're gonna do because it's the final episode, but it seems to be a consistent pattern with this season that we're doing a lot of shock value gore things, like with the actor guy drinking Nate Jacobs' finger juice. Like, what the fuck, guys? Next square, we're gonna go with Rue dies. I am not sure if they're gonna do, and I'll get into it a little bit later with my my other squares that are kind of tying into this theory that I have. I think that Rue might die, but I think it might be an ambiguous death because I think that they're gonna try to squeeze out, or they're leaving it open to do a season 4, but I do not think that a season 4 is gonna happen. So they're gonna have to do it in a way that remains kind of ambiguous because I don't think that they would ever kill off Rue with the intent of making another season without Rue. Because they were like, Ollie was like, Moses never makes it to the promised land. That makes me think that Rue might have to die. I don't know. Next square is gonna be that Jules gets one single scene. I was gonna say that Jules will not have a scene at all, but I think it would be even funnier if she only had one scene. Next, Maddie is stuck with Alamo. I don't really know like the intricate details of this, but I think it's pretty obvious that they're trying to do this whole thing where it's like, oh, like Maddie got into it with the wrong people and now she's gonna be like stuck with Alamo because there was that thing where she dipped her toes in, and a lot of people think that she's getting pimped out, and I think that I'm just gonna go with that theory and say that she's gonna be stuck where she's at. My next square is one of my favorites. I think that Cassie is gonna get canceled. I think that that's gonna be like the culmination of the Cassie storyline is that she's going to like be just like internet style canceled, and it's gonna be really fucking stupid. It's gonna be so dumb. But I think that that's like a fair place for Cassie's character to go, is that she's gonna get canceled. Maybe that actor guy is gonna be like, oh, she logged into my phone and did all this shady shit. Like, she's gonna be canceled. I don't know. Next square, I think that Rue is gonna have a chase sequence. I think like they did in I think it was season 2, where she was running and she was stealing all the jewelry from people's houses. And especially because at the end of this episode, it was Faye being like, Wayne! I think that Rue is gonna have a chase sequence. She's gonna be running and it's gonna be like the exact same thing as season 2. All right, next I'm gonna say that there's gonna be a phone call with Fez. This is the last square that I wrote and I had to think of something, and I feel like there's a world where they could have a phone call with Fez. Probably Rue is gonna call Fez and she's just gonna be like, I miss you, man, or something, and then she's gonna die. I don't know. Next I'm gonna put up Bishop shady scene. So this could work in a lot of different contexts, but I think that Bishop is just gonna be like shady. He's gonna do that weird thing where it's just like Bishop, because he's always weird. So there's gonna be a scene where he's just like saying some cryptic shit and being shady for like no reason. Next one is one of my favorite squares too. We're saying that there's gonna be a children's choir song that's gonna play. And there's this whole thing about this season and how like you could really feel Labyrinth's absence. But I feel like around this point in a show with the music that they have been using, I feel like they're gonna do like they're gonna have a children's choir song playing after something crazy happens. Something crazy is gonna happen and somebody's gonna die, and then it's gonna be like, ooh, and then it's gonna be like a children's choir song. Next, we're also gonna give Lexi one single scene. I don't think that she's gonna get more than one scene because her whole character arc with the script that she's writing or whatever, it's like nobody really cares about that. So, but they've been like doing, I don't even know. So with the single scene squares, it's like if they get 0 scenes, I can't knock off the square. If they get 2 scenes, I can't knock off the square. It's so dumb. We're also gonna put in that Ollie refuses to help Rue. I think that Rue is like, because she's gonna be getting chased and stuff. The chase sequence is gonna lead to Ollie's house at some point. I think it's gonna lead to Ollie's house, and Rue is gonna be like, I need your help, I need your help. And Ollie's gonna be like, you gotta figure this one out yourself. I don't think that Ollie is gonna help Rue anymore because Ollie has tried to help Rue too many times and Rue never takes it. So it's like, what? Our center square is always something gimmicky and funny. For the boys, our center square was that there was going to be a Soldier Boy MCU fake out. For the Stranger Thing one, it was a Byler endgame. That wasn't gimmicky to me. That was dead fucking serious. Our center square for this one is going to be gunshot cut to black ending with Rue. Now let me explain, because I said one of the squares is that Rue dies, but I think that they have to do this in a way that it leaves them open, because these people are money hungry. The writers of this show, the people making this show right now, are money hungry. They shouldn't have even made a 3rd season. And I think that this is gonna have to do with Rue dying. I think that there's gonna be like a scene where there's a gun pointed at Rue. Maybe she's running away or something. Gunshot, cut to black, end of season. So then, if by the grace of God, or by the grace of the devil, probably, because like who wants a 4th season of this show, they can maybe squeeze out another season if they keep it open to the fact that maybe Rue is alive. But in case they don't have another season, they need to leave it ambiguous enough so that maybe the audience can interpret it as Rue dying. I think that would be funny if the ending of the show is a gunshot cut to black. Next square, Alamo dies. I don't really know. I was running out of ideas. Alamo might die. Maybe. I think that him or Lori have to die. And I think that Alamo has a greater chance of dying than Lori does. Next up, Nate's death is covered up. So this mostly means that Nate's death is not going to have any really long-lasting implications or consequences, especially because Alamo was there when he died. I think that Nate, he's probably just going to get put into that box and buried again, and then nobody's ever going to think about him again. I mean, Cassie will be sad or whatever. Maddie is traumatized, but I don't think that Nate's death, I don't think that Nate is going to get a funeral. I don't think that anybody's really going to know that. It's going to be like he's like a missing person, and it's just going to get covered up. It's not really going to matter because the writing of this show sucks. Next square, Rue's mom is in trouble. I don't necessarily know what this means, but there was that whole thing a couple episodes ago where it's like they got Rue's mom to call Rue or something. It was like weird. And I think that because Alamo now knows that, for some reason, Maddie told Alamo that Rue is working for the DAA, which is so stupid. But I think that because of this, like Alamo might try to, or Bishop probably is going to go and do something to Rue's mom for like blackmail, or what's the word for it? Like a hostage, like, I don't know. But I think that Rue's mom is going to be in trouble. We might not see her. I'm not necessarily sure if we're going to see Rue's mom, but I think that it's going to be implied that Rue's mom is in like hot water. All right, next, the pigs are eating people. I saw this theory a while back when we were first watching the season, and I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool theory, because why else do you need so many pigs? But it also might amount to nothing, But it would be a cool square to knock off if we find out in the very last episode that the pigs are eating people. I don't know. Next square, I think that this one could be pretty cool, is that we see Lori show emotion. I feel like in the season finale, or probably hopefully series finale, if we're being honest, of a show, there's always that super stoic character that like ends up showing emotion at the end, and it's supposed to be this like big moment where you're like, oh, shit's getting serious if this character is like freaking out. I think that's gonna be Lori. We're gonna get a stereotypical Cassie sad girl scene. Bonus points if she has like a pint of chocolate ice cream and she's like eating the ice because Nate's dead. And it's gonna be like so unserious, like stereotypical girl is sad scene. And she's gonna be like in pajamas with her hair in a messy bun, eating a pint of chocolate ice cream with a big spoon, like crying. It's gonna be so dumb. Next up, we're gonna have DEA is too late. So I feel like this season, or the finale, is gonna be like, all of this crazy stuff is happening and the DEA, like, because they're kind of waiting on Rue's okay right now or something. I honestly don't even know. The season's so confused. I don't even know what's going on. But I think that they're gonna be like a second too late. Like, they're gonna be on their way and it's gonna be this whole like intense like rush scene where the DEA is trying to get there and all of these characters are in trouble and they're gonna just be a little bit too late and like Rue is dead or like somebody's dead or the bad guys escape, but they're gonna be like right on their tail and then they're gonna be too late. Next up, we're gonna have Wayne dies. I don't remember why I wrote this down, but I remember something in the last episode making me think that he was gonna die. But he also just seems like this type of like season-long, super quick, just introduced character that they'd kill off at the end to try to give the season some emotional stakes when in reality there are none. I think this will be funny too. I think that there's gonna be a Wild Wild West like duel type of scene. Now this could go in a couple different ways. I don't think that it's gonna be the whole thing where it's like, they're not gonna like stand back to back and like pace. Maybe they will. That would be awesome if they do that. And like pace away and then turn around and quick draw. But there's gonna be a scene where there's some stereotypical Wild Wild West music, probably with Alamo holding that like gold-plated pistol or whatever. And it's gonna be some type of like 1v1 duel kind of vibe. Probably with Alamo, maybe Wayne. Maybe that's how Wayne dies. I don't know. It's so dumb. Nothing happens to Faye. Faye is such a one-note character, and I think that her character trajectory is just that she stays the same. And nothing ever happens to Faye. She's always gonna be the same Faye, and she's always just gonna be Faye. Like, I don't think anything important is gonna happen to Faye. So, ambiguous conclusion in case of season 4. That's what I was mentioning earlier with the gunshot cut to black and Rue dies. It has to be ambiguous enough that they could possibly squeeze out a season 4 if given the opportunity. However, it has to be conclusive enough that, because they have to know deep down that there's a slim chance of them getting a season 4 after this horrendous season 3. So I think that it has to be like, it has to be ambiguous, like as in it could end here, but there is possibility for them to make another season. And then our last square, this was partially inspired by The Boys season finale, but the last square is just gonna be a the cycle continues type of ending. I was gonna mention something about like the trafficked women and how like maybe they're gonna be freed, but I think that it makes more sense in the context of the show for it to just be like, the cycle continues, guys. There's no break in the cycle. Like, make good choices. It's gonna be really dumb. I'm like having a heat flash right now. I'm so sick. But that's our Euphoria season 3 finale bingo. We'll see how it goes. Final thoughts right before the finale. I think that the biggest point of contention with this season is that there is no question that the writers are trying to answer. When you're writing a good show, there has to be like a theme or a moral dilemma or a question that the writers are answering throughout the plot line of the show. And with Euphoria season 3, there just is none. For example, the clearest point of this is Nate Jacobs. There's no question that his character answered. There was in season 1 and 2, it was like, toxic masculinity or whatever. But in this season, it's just like there's no point to his character. I mean, there's things that you could like argue's the point of Nate Jacobs' character. Like, I've seen people be like, oh, well, he was so toxic and hyper masculine and abusive when he was around the women in his life, but the second he's in front of like some men, he like crumbles, which is fair. I understand that, but I feel like it's not, I don't know, it's not done well enough for it to matter anyways, if that was the point that they're trying to make. And if we, the audience, have to argue to other people if your character had a point or not, then I have some bad news for you, you know? And that's the greatest example of it, but it has been with every single character of the season. I feel like no character has, like, there's no point or statement being made with anything happening in the plot, and the even bigger crime being with anything happening between the characters. It's so stupid. All right, let's go watch the episode. See you later. All right, first of all, that was the worst finale I've ever seen. Second of all, I've said that 3 times this year. Third of all, Alexa Demi, what is your lip combo? Okay, now let's get into what I got and what I missed. Redundant side character intro. That did not happen. I should have known that they weren't going to do that at the beginning of their last episode. Number 2, there were greater than 3 shock value gore clips. The first ones, I remember I counted Rue getting her hand cut open. I counted Lori's suicide. And I counted something else that I don't remember right now, but I also ended up counting the whole final battle sequence with Alamo. Rue did die. She died not in the way that I thought she was gonna die. I thought that it was going to be more consequence of like the people that she's been getting involved with. I didn't really see her death being drug related. And I do have a bone to pick with that. I really do think that Rue deserved to be redeemed and deserved to live a long, happy life. It's almost like when they killed off Elle at the end of Stranger Things, where they did so much work, especially at the end of season 2. We really saw her like life looking up, like she got so, I don't like that she died from an overdose, and I don't like that she died at all. I know that Rue was laced and that's why she died, and I know that, like, I see a lot of people being like, well, that's the most realistic thing that could have happened. But this season was so unrealistic that I'm like, it doesn't have the same impact. If you took the rest of the season seriously, maybe I would have felt something when Rue died, realistically. You know? Like, I know that she was laced with fentanyl, like, and that is realistic. That makes sense. It's like she wasn't intentionally trying to overdose. She wasn't, like, really deep active in her addiction or anything. Like, she got laced with fentanyl and that happens. But the entire season was so stupid that it's like, if you're gonna try to pull something where you're like, this is the most realistic thing, it's like, dude, they were like, this season was so out of pocket. You can't do that now. I'm going to say that Jules did get one single scene. I need to find a marker. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mark this off because yes, there was a scene of Jules riding her bike, but in my mind, I was like, okay, that's old Jules. In my mind, I was like, that's old Jules. And I didn't want to count that, but I told myself that if she didn't appear again, I would count that as a single Jules scene. But if she appeared one more time, which she did, I would count that, like, current time Jules as her single scene, which literally happened to a T. She showed up for 5 seconds, painted a painting of Rue, her sugar daddy kissed her on the head, and that was the end of Jules's character. Of what I'm assuming is going to be the series. There's no flippin' way they are gonna get a season 4 after this. This is abysmal. Maddie is stuck with Alamo. Alamo ended up dying, so at the end of the series, Maddie is not stuck with Alamo, but there was a quick second where I thought that I was gonna be able to mark that off because she was still engaging in Alamo's business after Rue had passed. But Alamo ended up dying, so we didn't get that square. That's 3 on the first row. I did a lot better on this than I thought I would. All right. Cassie did not get canceled. I was kind of pissed about that because honestly, I don't think that Cassie's character, this is that ambiguous for season 4 type of thing. I didn't knock off the ambiguous conclusion square because I guess it was kind of ambiguous. We'll get to that later. Rue had 2 chase sequences, so I got to mark it off, and then she had another one, but I didn't put a number limit on that, so I got to mark it off anyways. She had a chase sequence at the very beginning with, what was his name? Wayne. She had a chase sequence in the very beginning with Wayne, and she had a chase sequence later when she was trying to find Fez, even though that ended up being a dream sequence. That was still like a chase sequence, and it was literally exactly like season 2, which I'm pretty sure I said it's gonna be just like season 2. Rue's gonna be running through the streets, except she was in a car this time, but she was like hopping over fences, she was climbing on houses, she broke into it, like that was straight from season 2. A phone call with Fez. Rest in peace, Angus Cloud, first of all. Second of all, we did not get a phone call with Fez. I was a little bit upset. I was a little bit upset because it was almost a phone call. The fact that Fez was brought up at all, I really didn't think that he would come up except for like verbally, but we got this whole like sequence where it's like, oh, he escaped jail and then Rue went to try to get him. And there was that really sweet scene that I have to assume they filmed prior to his passing. But that was like really heartwarming, mostly just because I loved Fez, and rest in peace, Angus Cloud. That is like absolutely terrible what happened. But yeah, he was mentioned, and I was not expecting him to be mentioned at all because he was in jail, and they had this whole thing, even though it was a dream sequence. Anyways, long story short, there was no phone call with Fez, even though there was a there was a plot point in that episode where Fez was there. All right, Bishop did have a shady scene. Initially, I was going to mark off his shady scene as just him, like, ominously standing on that balcony. And I was like, okay, well, if there's no Bishop shady scene, I'm still going to give myself that square because, like, Bishop's, like, in and of himself, he's shady. And him standing on the balcony, he was, like, giving shady. But then he said a line that was particularly shady, and I was like, perfect, that's my square. He said, I like to surprise people. All like Bishop, he's like, I like to surprise people. That was shady. No children's choir song played, but there was an adult choir song played. I'm so mad. I wish that I just said choir song plays. This was in the sequence where we were actively watching Rue pass away. There was like an adult choir sing, but I wrote down children's choir and I had to stick to my guns. If it's that specific, I have to stick to it. I'm not going to mark it off because it was an adults choir, not just a choir. Or wait, no, it was an adults choir, not a children's choir. All right, next, Lexi gets one single scene. I have to stick to my guns because even though the Lexi scenes were very close to each other and they were in the same setting, but they were in different rooms and they were 2 different scenes. So I cannot mark off that Lexi square. I wish I had anything to say about Lexi, but like, I don't even remember what she said. I remember she had this whole monologue. I'm remembering now that Lexi's monologue was like about the religion, like the Bible, and like, I just need to touch on that because I don't think that I mentioned it in this video. I don't want to say too much about it, but yes, it did feel weird to me. It felt like propaganda. I was like, why? It was weird. I don't know how to describe it, but every time they brought up like God and the Bible, it made me feel icky because it wasn't like religious symbolism, like deep, like I can rock with that for sure. But like the way that they did it just made me feel strange. And if anybody can tell me why that was, let me know. But the way that it was done, I was just like, this is odd. This is odd. And the actress is great. Props to the actors on this show for delivering, even though this was the script. Like, it's genuinely impressive. Ollie did not refuse help to Rue. Rue was let into his house. He like crashed with her. That's where she died. I don't know why I was expecting Ollie to like, because Ollie has always taken in Rue, especially because she has been sober for the most part recently. I was just expecting there to be like a character conflict at that point. I don't know. There was no gunshot cut to black. That was my center square. It was honestly a lame center square, and I couldn't think of anything funny enough to put in there. But I really did. I mean, I guess I did kind of think that was, I just thought that Rue was going to die from a gun. I just felt like Rue was going to die. I did not think that Rue was going to like relapse and overdose and that was going to be her cause of death. I thought that Rue was going to die. Even though I said that Rue, like, I think that she deserved to live, I knew by the final episode that she would die. I just did not think that it would be from an overdose. I thought that she was going to get shot or something, and maybe it would cut to black, and then it would leave room for season 4, which there's no way they're getting a season 4. I forgot to knock it off, but Alamo did die. So I got another one. Now I have 10 out of 25. That's pretty good. We're nearing, but I don't think I have any more. Alamo died in the funniest way I think I've ever seen a character. Like, I watching Alamo's death scene, I was with my sister, and all I could say was, this is Euphoria. This is Euphoria. Imagine showing somebody, like, in 2020 and being like, this is what Euphoria becomes. Nate's death is covered up to a T. Nate's death was covered up. Literally, it did not, like, matter because Lexi was like, he's just missing. I literally said that he was going to be a missing person. Like, he's just missing and he's gone. He's just gone. And it's like, yeah, Cassie's sad about it, but nothing happens. Rue's mom was not in trouble. I said Rue's mom is in trouble. Rue's mom was not in trouble. She was in the episode for a second, which I honestly didn't think that she would be in. Like, a part of me was like, she might not even be in the episode at all. But she was in there for a dream sequence. But she was fine. She's not in trouble. The pigs are eating people. Okay, so, I mean, technically, the pigs could still be eating people. It could have happened off screen. It could be happening off screen, like, I don't know, but they didn't explicitly say that the pigs were eating people, so I can't mark it off. Lori shows emotion. This one, I had conflicts mentally with deciding whether or not my bingo card counted, but I'm gonna go with it counts. Lori did show emotion this episode. Just because, I mean, like, her delivery, her delivery wasn't, like, emotional. She was like, I can't go to jail. I can't go to jail. She's, like, not very emotional. But then she commits suicide. So I'm like, okay, that's, like, a very emotionally, like, charged thing to, like, feel like you have to do. I don't know. I took the square for myself. I think that's decent enough to get my square down. Rest in peace, Lori, though. Cassie's stereotypical sad girl scene. This was hard because I had it pictured in my mind a lot more dramatically, but I counted this as Cassie had a stereotypical emotional sad girl scene because she's at the diner and she's sad and she's crying and she gets the syrup because she's a sad girl who's gonna eat some fucking French toast. That's basically what it was. And then, like, an hour later or whatever, she was, like, in bed in pajamas in a messy bun crying. Now, the only thing that would have made it so much better is if she had a pint of chocolate ice cream. The DEA is too late. The DEA was, like, right on time, I guess. I mean, they just came and, like, shut that shit down really quick. I thought that it was, when I wrote this down, I was thinking that, like, there were going to be, like, a lot of people dead, or, like, there was going to be a huge, like, battle type sequence, and then a bunch of people were going to be dead, and then the DEA would be there too late. But no, the DEA just, like, rolled up to Lori's and did their thing and never mentioned again, which is fine, I guess. I don't know. All right, Wayne didn't die. Wayne didn't die. I don't really know what to say about it. I literally could not give less of a fuck about the Nazi plot line. Like, those guys, like, literally, I do not care. I don't have anything to say. I wouldn't have cared if he died, and I don't care that he survived. That's how much I don't care about this plotline. I do not care about these guys. They are so uninteresting. They are so unnecessary. But he didn't die, so the only thing I'm upset about is that I didn't get to knock off my bingo square. All right, this is my favorite square, guys. This is my favorite square. There was the most stereotypical, comical, hilarious Wild Wild West duel that I have. It was perfect. It was exactly what I was hoping it wasn't going to be. And that is why it was so good. Literally, it was Ollie, who, I don't know, have I been misinterpreting his character, or would Ollie literally never do that? Like, Ollie would never do that. Sawing the freaking thing off of a shotgun to, like, pull up on, like, on all Alamo. Like, I don't have any words. I don't have any words. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm about to get my duel sequence. But, like, I wasn't expecting the shock on my face. It's like, first he puts on the cowboy hat, and I'm like, all right, like, okay, this is kind of funny because I worded it as like a Wild Wild West duel, and he's putting on a cowboy hat. And then I start to hear that. I'm like, okay, this is a lot more accurate than I could have expected it to be. And then they're standing across from each other with their guns down, and Alamo gives Kitty that bottle, and he's like, roll the bottle down the bar, and when it hits the floor, that's when we draw. Oh my God, guys, I was dying. I couldn't believe my eyes. And then the slow motion hits, and it's like, the bottle's rolling, it's like, in the background, the bottle's rolling, and right before, and then Alamo cheats, and then he has no bullets. Bottle breaks, slow motion, looking up, I'll see you in hell. Unfucking real. Unfucking real. There was the fucking best Wild Wild West duel in the worst possible way. Moving on. Nothing happens to Faye. She hitchhikes with Wayne, and then like somebody pulls over, she gets in the car, and she's like, come on, and he has a gun. It's like literally whatever. Leading into that, my next point, ambiguous conclusion in case of season 4. I mean, like, Faye got away, she's like gone. Cassie's just sad about her breakup with Nate, and he literally died. Cassie's just sad that Nate is dead, right? Maddie is still fine. She's gonna friggin' go get drinks with friggin' Bishop, which, by the way, low-key, I can see it. Low-key, I ship. I mean, I think that if they were to make a season 4, Ollie's plotline's definitely over. He's just on the homestead, which, don't even get me started. It's so stupid. But I feel like, is this ambiguous enough for me to be able to say that it's an ambiguous conclusion in case of season 4? And same with the cycle continues. Well, no, I don't think that the ending was the cycle continues. I mean, Bishop's still alive, and he's probably gonna like take over Alamo's position, I'm assuming. But I mean, Lori's drug thing got busted. I mean, Faye's kind of like on the run. I mean, Alamo's dead now. Maddie's just like a OnlyFans manager, I think, still. And Cassie like runs a brothel, I think, if I was interpreting that correctly. Like, what, guys? What? I don't think it's the cycle continues enough for me to be able to mark it. And I also just don't think that it's ambiguous conclusion enough for me to mark it. I feel like it's more adjacent to just like bad ending than ambiguous conclusion. All right, so that is the end of our bingo card. We ended with a total of 11 out of 25 squares hit, which I always say, like I said for my The Boys finale bingo, if I can predict this much of your finale, it was terrible. This is not a sign of a good show. When I make a bingo card, it is because I am predicting that the finale is going to be as awful as possible, and it makes the pain a little bit less when something really stupid happens, and then I get to say, hey, at least I got a square on my bingo card. Final thoughts about the season. terrible, and I wanted it to be good. I really could have seen a world where they did a total like Euphoria rebrand for their 3rd season and people be like judgmental of it, seeing the trailers and being like, this is not what we wanted. And then it actually ending up being like pretty good, like really good. I could have seen it happen. And for the first couple of episodes, I was putting together a little vision. I think that the turning point for me was the Cassie giant lady fetish scene. Imagine saying that to somebody who's watching like season 1. The giant Cassie lady fetish thing was my eye opener that I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. That was a big one. And then of course, Nate Jacobs dying. Like what, guys? Like what, like, oh my gosh, you could have done so much with that character. It's insane. And it didn't even matter. They just covered it up. And then Cassie's just having her stereotypical sad girl crying in bed, eating fucking French toast because she's so sad and she's crying. She's like, we'll get through this together, bestie. That's nothing. That is nothing. That means that it means nothing. I do not like that they killed off Rue, especially. I don't like that they killed her off in general. I especially don't like the way that they killed her off. I don't think that was how Rue deserved to go, especially considering what they were like, the vibes, the tone. We had a Wild Wild West duel. I thought that Rue was gonna get shot or something and that's how she would die. Or like even when they got her with the lasso, which by the way, side note, I was going to write a square that was like, like Alamo rides on horseback. And when that guy, I don't even remember his name, the Nazi guy, was riding up to Rue on horseback with a fucking lasso, I was dying laughing and I was pissed off that I didn't write something down. But I was gonna write that Alamo did it, so I wouldn't have gotten the square anyways. But just saying, I literally thought of that and I thought of putting it down. I said, no, that would be way too stupid. It's stupid even for the bingo card. And then it literally almost happened. Okay, yep, this season sucked. Like, subscribe, let me know what TV shows I should watch next. Tell me what you're watching right now, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for playing Euphoria Season 3 Finale Bingo with me. Bye-bye.